Hi everyone! In this video we will look at our demo stand, where I will show you what opportunities are available for tables and form. I will show you how it is implemented inside SQL. What do they see on this stand? It is a table in which there is an opportunity to add something. For example, a certain customer. Filter data by name, the text, the scene of VIP, there are orders or not, you can still add a bunch of filters. So, it is all configurable, and accordingly click the search button. It searches for filters, objects and outputs. Next, we have two fields to edit. That is the name or the full name. It is possible to view the subtable, and it is possible to call a certain model window, which can be any form or add some additional data. This mark number of orders has done just for beauty. This is the layout. Further, this is a switch that can also be used. There are comments in the Edit Comment line. You can also delete it. All this is configurable. Actions. It can be absolutely any action. In this case, it's just a column with a specific set of buttons. In this case, the first, which calls the form. We can set some of our own values in it. So, we figured it out. In general, everything here shows the total number of lines. Sometimes it is convenient to immediately see the total number of lines in the header. This is also disabled. It is not a mandatory option. And there is a print form, export to Excel. So, this is sorted out. Now, let's see what it looks like inside, how it works, what it works on, and how it is all set up. We go to Settings. We have Editing Tables page, and here we see the columns management. It is possible to change the composition of columns. Quickly look here. It is the columns that are used, their settings are basic. The green icons, this is localization. It means if you need to translate the table into another language, you need to use these buttons. There are also stored values. For those fields we use in list. There can be many values, respectively they must be flexibly extracted. So, the dig stored procedure, it is managed here. Back to editing the table. Here we see get item, update fields and so on. These are the main operation, extract some lines from the table. Update one field, for example, when we change it, exactly the stored procedure is called. And something was set. Saved. I click not save, but cancel respectively. It will call this procedure. Delete item we haven't implemented, so that no one deletes record. That is, can only add. For deletion, there will be a cross. If you click it, the delete procedure is called accordingly. Fast create. This procedure for quickly creating a single entity, when we create an entity by one field. Here's a good example, Google Drive, where the document is created simply by name. There are a lot of parameters, you can specify many fields, but only the name is filled in. This is much more convenient, because the user first creates an entity for one field and then gradually fills it and adds it. Rather than fill out a large form, stop somewhere in the middle, realize that something is missing and start all over again. In this case, it is a small form. There are only 3 fields, but you can also create large forms if you need. Further, the table operation. In the table can be several operations. This is a string operation for one line. It can be group operations. When the module is created, where is somewhere here, columns of checkmark. That is, if we put a columns of checkmark, then the checkboxes will appear here. Select and here the panel of group operations will appear. We click the button that will work. Accordingly, these operations can be set here. Then, here are the main settings, but some basic things and the most important thing happening in the operations get items. Here we extract the table. This procedure is stringly defined type. At the utterance, it is created by example now. That is a certain example. It's take as a basis a stored procedure is a set. And in fact, you change and create your stored procedure. That is, it has a fairly standard form. Is defined here a kind of table, field, recoverable, generated, data table in a certain way. Note that some additional fields like subname, module name are used here. These are prefixes. It as subname means that we will have a subtable. There is such an icon, plus sign, and we open it, a subtable appears. Module means that we will also have an icon, but it will open as a modal form. Something will be loaded here. Further, an additional field desk name is loaded here. That is a certain system of prefixes. It is described in the documentation. Respectively, desk is a signature to a specific field. There are other fields, special fields, for example, when converting an indicator by how many percent it has increased or there is a progress bar. Accordingly, there can be also quite quickly and simply. Most importantly, you can create such tables in a standardized way. Here we wrote SQL, created columns. Here it works. Note that here several selections are made from one element at once, from one procedure. Thus, it speeds up the output of the result, because we immediately take a lot of data from one or the same query. In the third select, and we accordingly make some settings, again, there are all standardized. They are set accordingly to the documentation. What settings can be here? In this case, we make empty toolbars. The 1K is front sides made. That is slightly less than the usual. You can also set the filter markups here. In other words, if you are not satisfied with the default position of the filter, you can change them or move them. Instance filter means that when we change the data parameter, the table itself reloads after a while, a few milliseconds. This delay is made so that you can switch several at once. For example, we set two buttons like this, turned it off, and it showed both. Here is enable Excel print, enable print. It means to print the table on the printer and get the Excel upload to Excel file accordingly. There will a small hit with the layout, that is, while the texts are displayed there. We will remove them, I think, or we make this parameter configurable. In the other words, we will make an upload with or without text. Here is actually a simple example for the table. We will continue to return to this element because there are different modes of Kanban, ending, and so on. I will show you how to configure the same table in a different way. Update field. Here we set how the field will be updated. That is, we check that the field has come so and so. Note that if you receive username, you can additionally make a write check based on username. Global settings for access right to the table are set here. That is, we have users and roles, and you can set certain roles and accordingly starts from this. Pagination can also be specified here, and we can dynamically specify it during the extraction process. That is, you can even make it as a start of the filter. And you can use this parameter accordingly extract values from the filter and insert it dynamically in getItem. This is also quite flexible. Then delete, you know what for. Here again a test tab is made so that a person cannot accidentally delete something there, and that he has the most important example. This is an example of created code from the example procedure. That is, you can safely take it and use it, modify it for yourself quite quickly. First create, here we essentially first check whatever there is such a customer full name. There is, then we issue a message accordingly. If not, we add the customer to the system. Well, that's all. That is Here we have reviewed the main points. Now let's just look at the product table. It is not so different. There is also an addition, but it does through the model form. It does not appear in the center. It appears on the left. That is, this separate element. Here we can add several set number. Let's try. Here he created two set number of two products, wrote them in the names and the article. Here note that everywhere is marked. Again, the changing parameters, and note that the price is displayed in a normal format. That is not just as a number, but respectively through a specific notation. That is separate comma marks and respectively copies as a separate point. Editing the product is also separate form in which you can upload the image. You can change various parameters. Deal with this, it is quite simply. In the next video, we will look at our forms. So, thank you for attention. If you have some questions, please write in the comment.